Hey guys, Noel here, and it is Friday night. Before I go to bed, I thought it would be fun for us to do a video game review for the video game section of the YouTube channel. As you know, we recently acquired a Sega 32X, so I thought it would be fun for us to test the Sega Genesis games out on the 32X. Now, infomercials like Absolutely Rose Street tell us that the Sega 32X can make Sega Genesis games better, and I can tell you that that is true. Now I want you to see for yourself as we review Mortal Kombat on the Sega 32X. So what we're doing is we're taking the Sega Genesis version of Mortal Kombat, we're plugging it into the 32X and seeing how it looks and plays. So I'm going to hit the lights, you enjoy this attract mode, and we'll start some gameplay shortly. Now, what I'm going to do right now is show you all the fun codes that Mortal Kombat has to offer. So, fun thing about Sega Genesis. Their version of Mortal Kombat was able to replicate, as you know, the blood of the arcade version, but it did require the blood code, which goes a little something like A, B, A, C, A, B, B. And for those who say that you can't memorize things, I learned that when I was in the 3rd grade. Now check this out. Down, up, left, left, A, right, down will get us to cheat enabled. Before we do that, let's actually give us some credits and some easy difficulty. And I don't know how well you can tell, but this game looks amazing. The colors are popping really well. Everything looks super smooth, super clear. This is honestly the best I've ever seen this game look for the Sega Genesis. So the cool thing about cheat enabled is we can make it so that the computer does finish moves to us. We can make it so we can have one-hit victories, do all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm going to make it so that our first fight is in the pit, so we can see if we can get to Reptile right away. And here we have our roster of characters. Johnny Cage, Kano, Sub-Zero, Sonya, Raiden, Liu Kang, and Scorpion, who's actually one of my favorite characters. And unfortunately, this dragon in the middle does not ever give you Reptile. It doesn't happen in this game. But here is our plane of fighters that we see. And again, this screen looks incredibly crisp, clear, vivid, and full of rich, solid colors. So we're actually going to fight Scorpion in the pit. And we need to get a double flawless victory and a fatality. And then we're going to get to Reptile at the bottom of the pit. Now, hopefully, since this is the first fight, the computer is going to be pretty forgiving with me, and it is. So we've got one flawless victory under our belt in the pit, and the Sega Genesis version of Mortal Kombat, I would argue, has a much, much better soundtrack than the arcade. It has different music than the arcade, and it is better, especially the pit. Like, the Sega Genesis pit music is phenomenal. Crap. Not good, not good. No! 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 I got it! 1, 2, 3. Head uppercutted off. Now let's see if we get to Reptile. It should say, you have found me, now prove yourself. There it is. Alright, now we're going to fight at the bottom of the pit. Now, in the Sega Genesis version, the pit does not have all kinds of limbs everywhere and heads, and I actually think that that is better. Now, we recently reviewed Mortal Kombat 2 on the channel for the Sega 32X, and we saw Reptile in that game, and this version of Reptile is just much cooler. The green looks cooler. The fact that he's like a super fast version of Scorpion and Sub-Zero makes it even better. He's just like this mysterious, extremely tough character. He's a hidden boss, and he is very, very tough, and I doubt we can beat him, but it's going to be close. We'll see. We got him. Good deal. Now, Johnny Cage is one of my favorite characters because, as you know, Bloodsport is the greatest movie ever made, and Johnny Cage is based on Frank Dukes and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Crap. Let's see if this can... Darn it. He's too fast. Can't get anything going here. Darn it. Got my butt kicked there. This game I have played since I was in 3rd, 4th grade. Really 4th grade. I didn't get this game in 3rd grade. I got this in 4th grade. But the controls on it are very responsive, not as fluid. Yes, we won. 1, 2, 3. And we have beaten Reptile, so we're going to get a crap ton of points. You defeated Reptile 1,000,000 points. Not that points really mean anything in this game, but it's just nice to beat Reptile. Anyway, very responsive gameplay, not as fluid with the D-pad as a game like Street Fighter. Here's Sonya, who I had a massive crush on when I was in elementary school, and, probably till this day still do to some degree. But yeah, she's super fun to play against and play as, and she just knocked me out right there. Right here again, we are playing in the courtyard level, which is normally the first level of this game. And I said in our Mortal Kombat 2 review that, this game has a much brighter aesthetic look and feel than Mortal Kombat 2 and really any other Mortal Kombat game. And that's really one of the things about Mortal Kombat 1 that I enjoy, especially on the Sega Genesis, because while the character sprites might not look as good as in the arcade version, they don't look bad, and the game looks very bright. The music is much more unique to each level than the arcade version, where at least in my opinion, the arcade version, every level sounds pretty much the same. In this version, every song in each level has its own distinct sound to it. And in addition to that, the Sega Genesis version will give you that arcade kind of blood fun and finish moves, coupled with the really unique music, bright colors, and colorful, not color-wise, but in terms of their diversity cast of characters. So right now we've got like a Godfrey Ho Ninja going up against Frank Dukes from Bloodsport, essentially, and that's awesome, especially if you like 80s martial arts movies. So, good stuff. But still, compared to Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition, as much as I love this game, and as much as I thought this game was the coolest thing ever when I played it in elementary school, it's not as good as Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition on the Sega Genesis. It's just not. Not in terms of gameplay, not even in terms of graphics, 1, 2, 3. But you can cartoonishly uppercut somebody's head off, which is fun. Now, another fun thing about this game is we get to test our might, and this looks really, really good on the 32X. I mean, everything is just so smooth and crisp looking, especially when going through RGB SCART on a professional video monitor, going through the 32X, and now we're in one of my favorite levels, the Hall of Champions, where we have all the Mortal Kombat characters in statue form. Now, other versions of Mortal Kombat, including the Sega CD version, did not utilize the Sega Genesis soundtrack, which I think is a huge disappointment, because, once again, one of my favorite things about this game is the soundtrack. In my opinion, you can't really hear it too well because I don't want to pump the volume up and wake up my son and wife who are sleeping, but this really does have a really nice soundtrack to it, and really smooth, fun gameplay. 1, 2, 3. Forward, high punch will let you uppercut your opponent's head off if you're Johnny Cage. If you do that finish move without the blood code, you're just going to do a shadow kick that looks like you kind of kick through his chest, but not all the way through. So just, that's what you do. So, we're back to the pit. And since we've already beaten Reptile, I'm not going to be super concerned about getting a double flawless and a fatality here. Fun thing with the pit is that if your conditions for getting Reptile are advantageous, things will fly by the moon. So we just saw Santa and his reindeer. Oh, my favorite thing in this game is one of the programmers' faces that looks a lot like Jay Leno will hop up and down across the moon. We're not getting it now. We're getting a blimp. So I'm sure Homer Simpson is flying that right now. And not a pickle in his living room. once he loses his ability to fly the blimp because his daughter starts protesting cigarettes, and now we're going to uppercut him to the bottom of the pit right there. And that was a really cool thing you could do in this game, and in any version of Mortal Kombat, is the uppercut move will knock you down to the bottom of the pit. And now we are making our way toward the end of the game. Now, unlike Mortal Kombat 2, which we recently reviewed, this game has 3 sets of endurance matches where you basically have to fight 2 characters. And, you know, that is a thing that you have to do. You have to fight 2 characters on 1 bar of life. So when we just reviewed Mortal Kombat 2 on the 32X, all our fights were 1-on-1. So Kano is basically like the Terminator with knives. And he's a criminal. 1, 2, 3. So I don't feel bad about uppercutting his head off. He uppercuts lots of people's heads off. So, incidentally, in real life, don't uppercut anyone's head off. It's not good. It's a lose-lose situation. First of all, you're killing someone, which is unethical. And second of all, you're really going to hurt your hand doing that. It's not going to be good. You're going to hurt your hand doing that, but, you know, I got 200,000 points, so I guess the payoff is real. So, mirror match time, we're going to fight ourselves. The existential struggle. What am I really? What do I believe, and why do I believe it? What's the point of my existence, hence the word existential? Come on, come on! Gosh darn it, I'm losing bad. Darn it! I was going for the Jean-Claude Van Damme groin punch, but I got greedy, and now I lost. I'm down a match here. If we start losing a bunch, we'll wrap up this review because we've got a good feel for the game, and I mean, I'm sure I'm not the first person that's shown you Mortal Kombat on the Sega Genesis, but again, if you're curious about how the game plays, you know, Johnny Cage's moves are things like forward punch. Forward kick, back forward punch, that kind of thing. So it's not like Street Fighter or King of Fighters where you're sweeping the D-pad. It's much more, okay, I'm putting in button combinations and direction combinations and hoping things connect, 1, 2, 3. But once you get good at this game, it all just starts to feel very natural. And that is, I think, one of the reasons why this game was so successful. I've played this game on Super Nintendo, and it's really, really not as good as the Genesis version by any stretch of the imagination. The only thing it's got for it is the character sprites are better. Look like they have a little bit more frames of animation, but it's not anything that's super noticeable, in my opinion. And I think the gameplay is more fluid on the Sega version, the music's more unique, and you've got all of your arcade experience with character endings. The character endings are basically cut from the Super Nintendo version, which is really lame. You have the attract mode of the arcades. There's some things that are lacking in the Genesis version, like when it says your character biography in the arcade mode, in the arcade version, that's actually like a little movie clip of your character doing a move, and it's just a still picture in the Sega Genesis version. But I mean, it's not a huge deal considering the technological limitations of the Sega Genesis compared to an arcade cabinet, which, I mean, the Sega Genesis can totally give you an arcade experience, just not in the same depth of detail. But we've lost that fight, so that's not good. I know I'm being cheap here, but I want to beat this game. Crap. I will say the Sega Genesis version does cut out some sound effects. So Liu Kang does not have his Bruce Lee voice in this. 1, 2, 3. Head goes off. Alright. If we want to be Scorpion and burn a guy, it's block up. Within sweep distance. Alright, endurance match 2. Here comes Sub-Zero. And these colors are just stunning. Nice Buddha in the background. Nice, very cool, solid blue. Beat me to the uppercut. Here comes Sonya. Almost. Got her. You win, as my son would say. You win. Perfect. That wasn't perfect, though. We do need to jump over that ice. It will freeze us. We'll say another thing about the Sega Genesis version of Mortal Kombat is rather than giving Scorpion and Sub-Zero distinct fighting stances, they both have the same fighting stance. So that's a thing that's in the Sega Genesis version. So Sub-Zero has Scorpion's fighting stance. In other versions, he would just kind of rest his striking hand under his chin. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to fight in Goro's lair. Now what that means is that Goro is going to drop down from the ceiling if we can win this endurance round, and, you know, then that's going to, we'll see what happens here. Iron. Got it. Excellent. 500,000 points. And now we're going to fight Raiden and Sub-Zero, and hopefully this goes well. For some reason, you know, Raiden's, I think what ended up happening is Raiden's real name was Raiden, and people pronounced it Raiden, so now they started spelling it phonetically R-A-Y-D-E-N in the Mortal Kombat games. Because that's how it's spelled. It's spelled differently in different games. Goro's lair, very iconic level. That giant skull hanging in the background. And we won that fight there. So lots of, I mean, there is a certain amount of, you kind of get a feel for, it's like, okay, this guy's coming near me, sweep him, and then wait for an uppercut. And the uppercuts in this game are really over the top. You kind of like duck down and you just send the guy flying across the screen there. So, it's not all special moves. Sometimes you can just do quite a bit of damage with a regular move. Crap. Darn it. Not smart. Got him. 1, 2, 3. You notice nothing goes dark here because Goro is going to drop right down right now. So we're going to just uppercut him right off the bat. Don't even give him a chance to get started. And Goro is actually a stop-motion video character. Actually, I believe he's about the size of a pencil. You know, he's basically an action figure that's been blown up digitally to match these actors who have digitized graphics. And I mean, it's really funny how controversial the original Mortal Kombat was. I mean, I don't really see there's anything so ridiculous about this game other than we're uppercutting someone's head off, which is impossible to do. So it's almost kind of like, you know, silly cartoon violence. But this game at the time, I mean, there were people who were like, thought this game was like, you know, cocaine or something. It was going to destroy your children's lives because of the gratuitous violence. But I mean, to me, this is basically just a fighting game with digitized actors and a silly over-the-top story that requires some learning to get good at, but is definitely accessible and fun to play. So, and we're going to beat Shang Tsung there. Perfect, flawless victory. I will say when you play this game and you beat Shang Tsung, which I don't want to count our chickens before we're hatched, but it looks like we're going to do that here. It's, all the souls of the characters that he kills does not jump out of him. It just says outstanding. You've beaten Shang Tsung. Double flawless victory right there, by the way. And we are the supreme Mortal Kombat warriors right here. So let's take a look at our ending. Throughout the battles of life and death situations faced during the tournament, Johnny Cage learns his true importance of his fighting skills, and he also realizes the importance of the tournament. He returns to Hollywood after defending his new title as Grand Champion. Cage later goes on to film Mortal Kombat the movie and its many successful sequels. So there we have it, guys. That is Mortal Kombat. And here's our cast of characters right here, which is another really nice touch I like about this game, is that you get a nice kind of... It's almost like a sitcom, right? So, Daniel Pacina is Scorpion. Daniel Pacina is Sub-Zero. Daniel Pacina is Johnny Cage. And Elizabeth Malecki as Sonya. And there's Goro, whose stop motion was done by John Tobias, or Saibot of Noob Saibot. And there's Hosung Pak as Shang Tsung. So there we have it, guys. That is Mortal Kombat for the Sega Genesis, which looks awesome being played on the 32X. So get a 32X, put your Mortal Kombat in there, and have a lot of fun. Until next time, guys, my name is Noel, and remember, down, up, left, left, A, right, down for cheat enabled. Bye-bye.